75% of commercial realtors fail in their first year. This leads me to my question: what can I do to prepare myself to be able to be in that 25% that succeed? My name is Maddie Measle, and this year I will be focusing on the answer to just that. Now, what is commercial real estate? Well, it's a lot different from residential. Residential focuses primarily on homes. With non-residential, you get things like stores, malls, shopping centers, even industrial parks. You can also take part in colleges too. So that's some factors that really play into what non-residential is. With commercial real estate, you have profit-making purpose. And within that, there's 6 main sectors that you can focus on. The 6 main sectors consist of office buildings, simply the offices where you're going to lease. They typically want the cheapest rent, so they are able to move around. Land. These people in land usually have a vision. They can look at an area of land and say, can I build up from here? They can look at it and envision what they're going to make for their future. Industrial. This consists of big corporations. So you have industrial parks, a lot of them, usually a wide area. Next, multifamily. So these are primarily apartments. Next up is miscellaneous. So with miscellaneous, you can get, for example, private investors in colleges. They can take part in the dorms, they can take part in the office buildings, any part of it, and so they can actually invest in that property. And last is retail. That is the area that I plan on specializing in, and this consists primarily of shops and restaurants. In retail, you're focusing on 3 things, and there are 3 main skill sets that I've learned through my research interviews and through my assessments that can really put you further ahead. The 3 things are: 1, planning and organization. You must be able to plan in advance. The deal is not going to fall through if you cannot be able to plan. It's simple. Next is organization. You must be able to organize. This deals with a lot of finances, so you're dealing with millions of dollars planning a deal. If you're the one to not be able to organize and make that deal fall through, that is going to be a very negative effect on your company. Next is communication skills. You must be able to communicate. Professionals cannot be able to stress this enough because you're looking at making around 270 phone calls per day. And the tenants, whether you're talking with the tenants, whether you're talking with the brokers, investors, or developers, you're going to be the person on the front end that they will remember. You need to leave a positive mark so that they will remember that face. And last is keeping updated on trends. This is specifically for retail. And for retail, you must know what's in and what's out at all times. People are going to be looking at what's trendiest, what new restaurants they want to go to. In order to make the shopping center succeed, you have to study that. A couple of ways that I've learned to keep updated on trends are getting subscriptions to newsletters from fashion to business to realty, and keeping updated because in the long run, I want to know the tenant's business just as well as I know my own. That leads me to, what is a tenant? It's not just some crazy word that I keep on repeating. A tenant is a person who occupies land or property rented from a landlord. So I like to put this into the puzzle aspect. When looking at a puzzle, you're picking and choosing the right pieces to make that puzzle piece correct. For me, with retail, I'm going to base the demographics and look at each individual tenant to find which one is going to work best in my shopping center. I want to make the shopping centers the most successful, so I'm definitely going to have to look at each individual nitty-gritty detail to make it complete. That goes along with tenants. However, retail tenants are a lot different than your office tenants. This is for one example, customer loyalty. For retail tenants, you get a lot of customer loyalty based on your location. If you're leasing the tenant in the shopping center, you've got to look at each individual detail that's going to put it there, because if you put them in the wrong location, they're going to want to move. But you get what's called these golden handcuffs that locks them into that location. Because once they move, you're going to lose all their customers with it. This is a lot different than office buildings, because with office buildings, you can simply move across the street and they're paying their customers. They're not having people who are loyal to their program. They can move across the street for a lower rent. It's as simple as that. Now, with my research interviews and assessments, I've been talking to many, many business professionals, and they say there are typically 3 characteristics that aren't quite necessary, but they're extremely, extremely beneficial to help someone succeed in this field. Those 3 characteristics include what makes a commercial realtor great, what makes them stand out. The first one is being persistent. Being persistent means to keep on track. Keep on at what you're doing. If you don't keep on at what you're doing, the deal can fall through. It's as simple as that. Next up is simply having a positive attitude. Being positive throughout your day can change your entire career. And many of the most successful business professionals that I've talked to have actually emphasized this the most on top of the other 3, because that is the one thing that if you were, for example, wanting a tenant to be put into your shopping center and they say no, they can't do it because the lease is too high or they're planning on going with someone else. We've got to look at that as you have an opportunity here to go for something better. There's always something better you can look at. And so to have a positive attitude can take you extremely far in this field. And last is having discipline for yourself. Creating a plan every week for setting little goals to fulfill your big goal. Now, if you can't be disciplined and achieve your smaller goals, you can't achieve your bigger goal. You're going to fall through with your smaller goals and they're just going to trickle down, being not able to complete the big purpose. So along with these 3 characteristics, there's one statistic really that keeps me motivated. And that's the statistic of the male-dominated field. As a majority of business careers nowadays, they are male-dominated. However, this percentage of women, as you can see, has jumped from 36 to 43% in the past 5 years. Now, this is help from organizations such as CREW, Commercial Real Estate Empowerment of Women, where you have the opportunity to network and connect and really push the women to succeed, because it does come with age and respect that you can succeed in this field. Having that connection is just going to push you that much further. Along with this, whether it's men or women, a typical day is not existent. You have no average day in commercial real estate. One can be setting a merchandise plan after they have acquired their land, or they could be analyzing properties, seeing what's in and what's out. What do they need to change? How can I make this better? Or they can simply be sitting at a desk all day, cranking out numbers, figuring out the financing. Another thing they could be doing is generating leads and finding out what can I do next. This is the most important step, because they need to be able to look at land, look at a property, and generate a lead and say, can I do this next? Is this going to be the next step in my process? No average day kind of consists of waking up every morning and being able to embrace new ideas, being able to embrace new connections, being able to embrace the new.